Hall Heroes. So, you nerd. Welcome to TownHall Heroes, episode number 141. This week, we've got a lot to talk about. A huge show lined up for you here. We're going to be talking about Genji, Hanamura, and the PTR balance changes in the first half. Then we'll be talking about a special announcement, and then diving into HGC. But as you can see, or as you can hear, Zoya is here, as well as Bakery and Dunk Train. And we'll start with you, Zoya. How you been, buddy?
Pretty good. Been doing B-Step stuff. I'm still their manager, and, Kaf and I, we talk to sponsors, and, of course, I do all the other manager stuff. Cool announcement, though. Recently, as of yesterday, we confirmed that we have secured NVIDIA as a sponsor for a boot camp for playoffs. So at playoffs, whenever we're competing to try and make top two, we'll be playing from NVIDIA's offices. We'll be boot camping there the week prior and then playing the playoff games there. And the team is super excited. We're so happy we got the boot camp, and we're ready. We're ready to give it our all.
That's sick. It's awesome.
I think
that boot camp is so cool.
Oh, yeah, you were there, huh? At the NVIDIA boot camp.
Yeah, he's done them before.
I think that's pretty telling, though. A team that doesn't have a sponsor is still, able to get a boot camp with someone like NVIDIA. To have that kind of respect from the org, just knowing the players and having that relationship, that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, despite our showing versus Naventic, which had its obvious flaws and issues. Before that set, the team was I was scheduling 6 hours of scrims a day, and then they were still doing outside of that replays, Here League, and Team League. Despite the rumors and what Reddit thinks, how these guys just don't practice, they don't care anymore. They went hard the weeks leading up to playing Naventic, and it was a sloppy showing. But these guys they're 100% invested in. We're so gracious to have the NVIDIA boot camp because it can make this tournament for us, and we can make top two easily.
Yeah, we'll be fourth place here in HGC right now. Obviously, that loss to Naventic really did hurt. It was a 3-0 too, so it looked like Naventic stepped their game up a lot. Also looked like B-Step was having a off week at least. But we'll talk more about that later in the show. HGC, definitely one of our big talking points. Bakery, my friend, how have you been?
So first off, I'd like to say happy birthday to my least favorite person on the show, Zoya. Happy birthday, Zoya.
Thanks, bro.
Second off, I'd like to say, I've been good. Been obviously practicing. We had a good showing in our game against Playing Ducks earlier this week, and a decent showing against Expert. We did take the win, which is obviously an important series for us.
Yeah.
So, all in all, pretty good.
Lord of the Dunks.
Yeah, not much here. Basically, same thing as Bakery now, since we're basically attached at the hip at this point. The set against Expert was pretty nerve-wracking, but we will have more opportunity to talk about that near the end of the show. Other than that, yeah, just kind of chilling.
Nice. Well,
what about you, Jake? What have you been up to, dog?
I've been playing real life Stardew Valley hardcore,
nice.
Yard work up the wazoo. But my garden is almost reclaimed. I mean, if you guys haven't played Stardew Valley, it's a game where you have your grandfather's will is his farm. And you take a bus, you want to leave your office life, you hate this life in the city, and you go out to re-find yourself at your grandpa's farm. But it's so overgrown. There's rocks and sticks and logs and everywhere all you can see. And to be honest with you, that's basically what my house was. It's literally my wife's grandfather's home, and he has a massive plot of land that was all a giant garden in the back, and I've been digging trees out of the ground. But I'm getting swole. Kubi, watch out, buddy. I'm coming for you. But beyond that, yeah, it's been a lot of cool, work behind the scenes, and we'll be talking about some of that later in the question mark segment, as you see, as we're having a bit of an announcement. We'll open up the show by talking about Genji. So Heroes 2.0 beta continues on with its second hero launch with Cassia. Now we have Genji and the new map Hanamura. But Zoe, when I mentioned Gengo, you just started wiggling in your chair.
Yeah, I've been playing on the PTR a lot. I'm having a lot of fun with him. He is really fun. I think he will be very good. I don't know. He just his dash is so ridiculously long that it doesn't make sense, and that's why it's so great. It's just so many times you just fly over walls on accident because you're going 300 feet. It's fun.
That is a good question. Why is his dash so long?
It's longer than the Overwatch version, that's for sure.
Oh god,
it's cool.
It's huge. Like
it's so cool. You go
it's
fly.
like 2 screens. Like
it's so long to the point where I was practicing obsing a replay of Genji just so I could get used to the like basically flick of the wrist of him from point A to point B, and the fact that he has a talent, because those small things do matter in obsing, but the fact that he has a talent that makes it even longer, and you have to like take that into consideration for the dismount, whatever it's called, like the nimble dismount or whatever. Dude, it's insane. But Zoe, when you said you think he's going to be very strong, Dunk Train kind of made a face like, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sold yet that he'll actually be really powerful. I'm not saying it's out of the question, but just his kit, is one of those kits where you never really know if they're going to be good until you play with it. And it's the kind of thing where he'll probably be broken in some ways, but I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, you have to also take grain of salt with what I say whenever it's on the PTR. So most games are like pub stomps, and most of my impressions are from my end, or I play a lot with iDream, and iDream's Genji he's iDream, of course, so of course his Genji is going to be really good. And watching him Genji, where he's just perfectly landing his dashes and getting the kill, and just doof, 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 like all over the place, it's just, it's terrifying to watch. The snowball effect he can cause.
I played my first game as Genji, right? We were 4v4 in the bot lane, and so I'm there, we start off the fight, it's going badly, 2 of my team die, but I'm nailing these shurikens, and I get 1 kill, right, with the dash, and I dash through a second, and then it's the last 2, and they're running away, so I save my dash, one's about to go over the wall, so I dash over the wall, kill 1, and then blind dash, already cue it, because I know he's going to be tapping, straight through the tap, and then 1 more dash, straight to the center area where there's no turrets and stuff, and just recoil. And I was I love this era. This era's great. But yeah, I'm actually really excited about him. I think there's so much skill involved in using his Q and using his autos. I think it's going to take people a long time to actually get good at him. People are actually going to need to invest a lot of time. And I think once we see someone who actually has a proper mastery of Genji, he'll be a really strong pick. It's going to be one of those heroes that just continually gets nerfs, patch after patch.
As people get better at him?
Yeah, over the next year, he's going to get 5 nerfs in a row, all spaced out by quite a few months.
The best comparison I've heard from Dream was he fills the exact same role Tracer does, but Tracer does it easier. So until people figure out how Genji's going to be doing it, that Tracer's just the better pick in that situation when it comes to just harassing the backline, securing kills.
I don't know if I agree with that. I mean, I have the best Tracer in the West on my team, and I don't know. It feels like Genji can do definitely a different role.
A different role in the sense of the heroic, or just overall, because
it feels like Tracer. It feels like Tracer is just a burst mage. It's all you do is you poke the tanks so you annoy them, and then you get a bomb, and then you one-shot a backline. That's what it feels like you want to do as Tracer. And you play like an Illidan so she can farm the bomb, and she can be annoying, and then once she has the bomb, she plays like a Zeratul. That doesn't really feel like what Genji does to me.
What heroic do you guys take in EU right now?
What, on Genji?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It feels like different people think different things. In general, I think...
The second one is what we see
stronger
here.
One. What? X-Strike?
X-Slash, yeah. You dive in, it's got a lot of bursts on a target, and then...
It seems pretty
Secure
easy
that
to
kill.
dodge, to be honest. Like, if you can get hit by one, you can get hit by two, I guess, if you're, like, unlucky. But most of the time, if you get hit by more than one, it feels like you've misplayed.
Well, that's
Yeah,
what
or got
you,
chain
like,
CC'd.
CC, yeah.
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 CC's
I mean,
key.
I mean, there's still Cleanse, and Uther's, like, on the PTR a lot, so...
Uther's cleanse got changed in 90 seconds, though.
Well,
But it's actually less, because
Yeah.
he can, like, melee.
auto
well,
attacks reduce the cooldown.
Still, it's still longer.
It's actually
on
better.
average.
It's actually better. Like if you need like
I think
6 auto
on
attacks
average
to
it's shorter.
if you get 6 auto attacks, I think it's even. To
Oh.
the standard class.
Yeah.
It's actually insane.
That's pretty fast.
It's actually insane. Like
Yeah.
Never mind then. That's actually pretty crazy if it resets that fast.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like 10 seconds, but it's slightly better than normal Cleanse, I'd say. At least in the early game.
I'm loving the new
Yeah.
Uther too. By the way, he's
Nuther's my jam. We'll talk about him in a bit.
a lot of fun.
I like Genji feels like the right balance of like simple with elegance in the design, so you actually have to be skilled to play it well. So that's what I really like. He like none of his abilities, if you just like look at the ability, is that complicated. Like they don't have weird tacked on interactions. Like there's nothing where it's not obvious what an ability is doing, but it's still got a huge skill ceiling. I think it actually really nailed that. So that's really cool.
Pretty disappointed overall on his talents. They don't really
Yes,
seem
I
to
agree,
add much
100%.
to the play at all. It's just like, oh, you move 30% faster after X. You know, it doesn't really seem to change how you can. There's no way you can build Genji and have it completely shatter his playstyles in different directions. It's just like he does a little bit more. He does a little bit more. I'm really disappointed in his talents, but his kit and how he
Yeah.
plays is so good.
To say that I was disappointed in his talents is probably like the wrong word, but I definitely agree with you. I think they were super scared to actually let Genji do different roles.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like if this hero was versatile, like, and he's got the same kit as an Overwatch, right? So he's super hard to like lock down. He can do like a ton of sustained damage if he's landing shurikens. He has a ton of bursts, like with Swift Strike and Egg Strike and stuff. I don't know. I think they were just like, we have to pigeonhole this hero, and we can make his talents like augment that and try and make it more fun. I don't think they did that very well, to be honest, but I'm not disappointed that they didn't try and make him versatile. I think it wouldn't have been healthy for him.
Well, I mean, he doesn't need to be versatile.
Yeah, just
have interesting talent choices. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
I
the
mean,
talent,
yeah.
for example, the talent at 1, Agile Dismount, is super cool. Like, when
Yeah.
mounted, you can jump with your
Yeah,
trait, like,
yeah.
almost twice as far. Like, that is a super cool effect, but it doesn't, like, fundamentally give him something he didn't have. He was already mobile. Like, it doesn't make him play it on a different role. It's just a really cool effect, and I feel like that's lacking in a lot of the other talent tiers.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I think at 4 you have like there's a 3 that change the way that you use your abilities at level 4. And at level 7 it's kind of the same thing.
I mean,
Not to the same extent, but obviously like at level 7 you want to use, if you take Cyber Shield, then you use your D at the start. So that's not compatible with the Shuriken talent at 4. So there are things that change the playstyle at least a bit, but I don't know. I think there could have been more, right? I'm not saying they did like a great job,
right.
but I don't think it's that bad, honestly.
Okay, maybe it's just like
Maybe his kit stands out so much more than his talent tree that's why it kind of seems like it's off. I don't know. There's just his kit is so almost perfect. I want to say it's so flawlessly fun that
The
his
only thing
talent tree doesn't match.
The only thing I really dislike about the kit is deflect's functionality against high frequency attacks.
Yeah.
I think it's
like
just
Zarya.
silly.
Yeah.
It's
Flaming.
just silly to have in the game, honestly. Like you shouldn't have that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
I
I don't know.
The Li Ming video, if you guys haven't seen it, with Rich.
Imagine like a Tracer though. Like
ridiculous.
Tracer literally
Tracer
can't
hard
turn off her
countered.
auto. She can't turn off her auto attack. So if
Yeah.
you're alone against a Genji, you literally you don't have anything you can do. Like I don't know,
Lucio
it's
has
just-
the same issue. He can't
High
turn off his
kiss.
auto
Yeah,
attack.
Lucio. Yeah.
And is like that's the thing is Lucio like runs in to like heal his team and he's just like attacking the Genji and it's like doing more damage. I mean, I don't know. It honestly feels like if Genji, if they were like, we need this kit in League of Legends, and you gave that to Riot, I feel like they would have committed, and they would have said, this hero is not going in the game until we now deflect sending back projectiles. And what Blizzard did is they were like, okay, well, that sounds like a dangerous thing to do, so we're just gonna try and emulate the feeling of that ability. And they did a great job. It does feel like you're playing the Overwatch character, but it's not the same ability. I feel like,
Oh yeah.
I don't know if it's
Would it
just
be
a
better?
mentality change, I guess.
Would it be better if you had to target the retaliation attacks, or would that just be like super frustrating to use?
I feel like that would be awkward to use.
In Overwatch, doesn't it? The way it works is Genji
Where
actually
you're
reflects
facing.
the actual attack. So if it's a bullet
Yeah.
shot, it reflects the bullet. In Heroes, what it seems is it blocks it, and then he throws a shuriken in
at the
response.
nearest
Yeah.
enemy hero. Yeah.
So that's probably where the issue is. If he's doing a base damage shuriken for every instance of damage, that
Yeah.
scales very quickly for fast attack. So there's some very, not obvious, but there's some tweaking that can be made there that can salvage that ability for sure.
yeah, but overall, Genji is super
Yeah.
well executed, I think.
I agree.
I feel like what they would need to do is they need to have like tiers, but that feels like a kind of the solution that they really wouldn't want.
Yeah.
Because it kind of adds like a burden of knowledge where if you hit with something like under 50 damage, then he returns 10. If you hit with something like between 50 and like 200, he returns 25, like that kind of thing.
Usually with like things like that when it comes to like programming and stuff is if you can find implications for that mechanic in multiple aspects, then it's easier to want to invest that much more money and time in developing that mechanic to work that way. So that's why I can kind of see like where else would they be able to implement that mechanic if they're going to invest more time and more risk into perfecting the said mechanic. So if they can find more heroes that like they could somehow work that into, then maybe they would be willing to take that risk. But if it's just Genji that's going to have this mechanic, I can understand why. I wouldn't call it the lazy way, but I could call it the easier way.
It just creates
I
a
can
lot
understand.
of like hard counter situations. Like if you pick this hero, suddenly like if you're leaving Genji open in so many situations, you're just screwed, right? It's just such a negative impact, and that's tough. People are saying a shuriken cap might be a good resolution. Now, if you guys mentioned
Like
that,
yeah, maybe a cap like how many that can be thrown out per second. Like maybe a cap of like 3 per second or something, 2 per second. I don't know.
I was surprised he didn't have any auto attack talents at all. Like on his whole tree, he has none that augment his auto attack. I was just surprised.
Yeah.
I wonder why.
That surprised me as
it
well.
really feels like it's something that would feel natural on him.
I agree because I'm always autoing on him. I just feels like I should always be autoing, and there's nothing to enhance that.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. I hadn't
But,
actually
like,
thought about it until you said it, but it makes sense.
The weird thing about Genji is like autoing feels like his fourth ability, if you know what I mean,
Yeah.
or I guess fifth
Yes.
ability, because you have to stop and then cast the auto, and you weave that
Yeah.
with Qs because they counter each other. So it actually feels like you're juggling abilities
Yeah.
when you're autoing, which is super weird in Heroes. Like
He
normally
almost
it's not
feels like
that.
he almost feels like a battle right hero in that sense. Right? He's got a lot of feel to him. He's got a lot of control that you can have over him as a hero. They did a really good job of that.
Yeah.
He feels good when he's in your hands. He just feels good, right? I'm happy overall.
Outside of Tracer, I mean, some of you guys said you think he feels like a Tracer. Bakery, you disagreed. Bakery, Dunk, I mean, if you had to compare Genji to one hero that's currently in the game, who do you think he's most like?
I think he's like
give me a second.
I'm pretty sure he's the most like a Hunt Illidan. The reason he's not a meta Illidan is just because you don't have the tankiness to make a comparison, but like the Hunt Illidan is basically only a team fight finisher, executioner, and good at chasing down final kills. Like, that's really what I think Genji is going to end up doing. He is only going to want to engage on a target that your tanks have already isolated or CC'd or whatever and hope to finish the kill. He's not like a Tracer who like finds the opening herself and almost one-shots someone and then someone else like follows up. It's like, okay, my team set me up, they're already low, they're poked out or whatever, now it's my job to finish the team fight. I feel like that's a lot of what Illidan does, is just chains the kills as you try to run away or whatever. So it's basically if the enemy team has this hero, you have to either leave team fights extra early or like commit to fighting because you're not going to be able to escape, is how he strikes me.
Yeah, I think he could be more like a Metamorphosis Illidan if we eventually got some iterations of auto talents like we were talking about. He could be more like sustain based and more of like a poking type playstyle then. But yeah, I think that rang pretty clear. Hunt Illidan makes a lot of sense.
I'd say he's most similar to double support Valor.
I don't understand
the fact
nonsense.
that you can do like a Tassadar Mouthfalla kind of thing, where you're just kind of always fighting.
Like Tas Oriel Valor. Valor basically is your kind of front line, and she's always there, just like pew 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 pew. And then like when the fight starts, she normally walks like around the side, so she can hit backline easier, and it's still hard for the front line to punish her there because she still has Volt and she still has 2 supports. So that's what it kind of feels like to me. Like, you're just like pew pew pew, and then the fight starts, and you like get on the flank and get ready to harass the backline.
Can you give us one more pew pew pew?
Pew pew pew.
I can see that. That's interesting. I definitely wouldn't have drawn that conclusion myself, but well, he does have a lot though. The only thing Genji lacks is, does he have any talent for lane clear effectively? They gave him the one like local AoE, but it's reliant on his W taking heroic damage,
and it's also terrible.
Yeah,
like who did the numbers on that talent?
It doesn't regenerate on its own, and 16-second talent that's 16-second cooldown ability that's active for 1.25 seconds. So unless you're getting hit by a wide array of things, you're not going to have that activatable.
His web clear is not hot.
Yeah.
It's like below average.
Is that his only weakness?
I mean, he's super
no
squishy.
CC.
Yeah, no CC. He's super
but
squishy.
He's basically, I mean, he is like that. You're gonna get this guy in your team and be like, God, not another Genji in my Hero League. He's gonna be one of those like, I'm the best, I'm the carry, everyone do everything for me players. That's who Genji's gonna appeal to.
Yeah, and I think Genjis are gonna be very easy to read. He's got he's got his reflect, he's got his trait, and he's got his dash. You just keep track of those abilities, know their cooldowns, and some of them are pretty long. So you're going to know when Genji has no escape. He's only got one survivability option. We force reflect and we can kill him, I feel like he'll be very easily to read and exploit at pro levels to play. So the Genjis will have to be really good at the top level to be able to pull him off.
I don't think so, honestly. I think he's got such a get out of jail free card of like, oh wow, I just missed all my shurikens. They're on me. Like, I have no reflect because I wasted that as well.
I'm back in the fountain.
Like, that's so faded. He has to mess up really hard to not be able to get out, I think. Like, he has to use E to actually be in a bad position.
Yeah. But it just depends on what. If you don't, I feel like.
If you hold your E, then you're playing a very different play style from what I've been seeing. Like you said, it was very similar to the task. Like, we have very different visualizations of how Genji's played right now. Because you said you see him more like the Tasvala, and I see him more as like, trying to secure those kills very quickly. So it's still very early in its PTR. We'll see what's the actual right way to play it. Probably a more safer play style, because from what I've seen, his hyper aggro play is very punishable, which will probably sway people from playing it. So I agree with Bakery, probably.
Well, obviously it's still very early. We'll see. I think the one thing that's very safe to say, and I think we can all agree on, is just the fact that he's the type of hero that people are going to get better and better and better with. And as Bakery put it, or maybe it was Dunk, that he's just going to get nerfed continuously over time because people are just learning him better. Going to be a lot of fun to see him play, though. Definitely a flashy playmaker here, fun to watch. And it'll be a while before we actually see him in HGC, though. It's going to be many, many weeks, I'm sure. Let's move over to talk about Hanamura, the next map coming to Heroes of the Storm. Zoya's shaking his head. It's a 2-lane map here. Another 2-lane map. I mean, it's kind of a topic that we mentioned is, it doesn't always work out that well. You think a Haunted Mine's been reworked like 3 times. BOE's probably the only one that I actually think is really solid. But they've mixed things up a lot on the map. I mean, overall, some of the biggest differences for Hanamura, if you haven't played on it yet, is the mercenary camps drop items. These items are effectively like power-ups for your team that you can use at your will, similar to the nuke, but they tend to, one of them is a turret, one of them sends out vision, like little heat-seeking vision scouts, and one of them is a big heal that is actually AoE around you and your allies that just kind of casts a regrowth on like everyone if clumped up. So let's talk about the items element first.
I'm glad you brought it up that way, because I would like to start it on a good note, because it is the only thing I like about the map. I like that the mercs are very different. I think the rewards might need to be tweaked a bit. I really don't like the vision one. The dragons that go and reveal. I'm not the biggest fan of that one. I like the health pack, though. I think the merc camps were really cool, really well done. And I hope we see more of it. It needs to be tweaked a little bit, I think. But I think that is the best possible way they could have changed merc camps while being super creative about it. Because I would have never expected this to happen, right? I would have never been like, what if you change merc? Like, if you're to change merc camps, how would you do it? That would not have been what I would have suggested. And I really like it. It's my favorite thing about the map, and the only good thing about the map, in my opinion.
So merc camps give more experience, right? And they don't push, so the enemies cannot collect any XP. They're not going to push your lanes out, and they give you the item. Dunk, do you think the items are meaningful? Do you think there's like flexibility for decision making? Like, is it deep enough to the point where you can say, all right, they're 13, we're 12, but if we grab this health pack item that they won't have, we can maybe win the fight? Is that going to be a decision making option?
I'm pretty sure in competitive level play, they're going to be taking the turret and heal on cooldown no matter what. Like, they're ultra powerful effects. So I'm not really sure if it's going to be as much decision making and whether to get it. I think you're going to have to pick it up, but there's maybe some interesting things where you have to consider when you use it, since there's such powerful effects. Like, if you end up wasting your heal pack, you're going to have a huge disadvantage in the next fight compared to the enemy team. Like, if they have held onto their heal pack or whatever and went even with you.
The guy we're looking at right here, it's actually the first single unit mercenary camp we've ever seen. So like, there's a few things to consider about that. Besides bosses, but like he's bribable.
Bosses aren't mercenaries. The bosses.
Yeah, they're bosses. But that is a single bribe stack to get that camp. And I guess the other thing is he has a self heal. So does the turret. The turret heals as well on the other camp, the 2-unit camp. So they're trying to put extra emphasis on the single target DPS for merking.
Yeah, definitely. You can tell that was a purposeful change in these mercenary camps.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mercs are definitely cool, in my opinion.
I like it. I really, really like it. I hope this transitions to more maps, because I've never been a fan of push. Like, I think split pushing has always been the least favorite part of the game. I love team fighting and stuff, and these benefit that, right? These allow you to do that a little bit easier and encourage it. It encourages fighting more.
Hey, man, wait until you get a Gazlo who picks up the turret neutral and then also pushes the lane.
Yep.
Tragedy.
Oh, well, we'll talk about push on this map, too, in a bit.
You seem to have had some bad experiences with that.
Yeah, played the map a lot.
Okay. Do you think pushing is a problem then? Like, you think it's too powerful of a strategy?
Yes. Well, okay, no. Can I just go, Jake?
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Okay. So
Can I
when you
just get-
when you take any any major structure, a fort
Yeah.
or a keep, it gives you +1 to that shot.
Yep.
Right. So you can get the first one if you took potentially if you took all four of them, you could get your first shot to do 5 damage. Right.
Mm-hmm.
When the maximum health of your core is 7, that one, even just taking one early game fort is such a huge momentum push. So having heroes like Sylvanas on this map where you can put pressure on the lanes easily, getting those early forts. We ran Sylvanas Vikings on the PTR, and it, with the split push, the soak, and being able to stall out where you have Eric, his little stealth, you can put up by the payload. And if they don't have, consistent AoE to break them out, you're just constantly stalling these little payloads, and you're just split pushing with Sylvanas. You can get an early fort, and suddenly the game is in your favor. And even, like, everyone's saying on Reddit and stuff, if you get an early lead, this is the hardest map to come back on. Once that one up advantage is, you're on the back foot the rest of the game. So the fact that both forts and keeps give you that +1 shot can make it so snowbally because the HP of your core is so low. So maybe like tweaking the HP from 7 to 10 without touching much else would be a good fix, or removing the fact that forts give you +1 to your shot. Because just a fort giving you that one extra advantage, the difference between being tied 6-6 and then someone being 6-5, when you're trading every single payload, it's like Towers of Doom, right? Whoever's got that one up advantage, if they just got to keep playing consistently, eventually they just win, right? You can just ride that out. It can be tough to do. So I think either the HP needs to be changed a bit, or remove that extra shot from forts, because you can have really, really fast games if you're just a split pushing machine.
Okay, so this is a bit of a fun story. So I played a game. I think I was in queue with Zalia and Breeze, and we start off the game. We win like a single team fight. We take a fort from it, and then we take like the other fort. Okay, and so we end up like, I don't know, I guess 10 versus 8, and then with 10 we just go and force a keep, and then we still have 10, and then we force the other keep, and then we have like 2 people stood like on the top gate, like their gate, and we have 2 people stood on like the bottom gate, like also their gate, and then we have like a Genji in the middle, and at this point I guess we're like 12 versus 9. And they just stopped getting XP for the rest of the map because they can't stand over the wall against us because they die. And so it ends up something ridiculous like 16 versus 9, and they still haven't hit level 10.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
It could be
And then-
that snowbally.
And then the game ends to sappers.
Yep.
So yeah, spawn camping in Heroes of the Storm.
Yeah.
What a great new
It is
addition.
an Overwatch map.
Yeah, I don't expect that to happen very often, but
Yeah.
it is a weird map, and the way that you can deny XP by like shoving like waves in, like where the keeps are, and that's also like there's sappers that spawn as well.
When the
Also-
keeps are down, yeah.
Yeah,
Super toxic and annoying that we're going to have to deal with every single game. Where the wells are on each lane, there's a gate above them. You can just walk up to, break the gate, and then get to that well from level 1 with no towers, nothing threatening you.
I mean,
from level
people
1.
said that about Battlefield, right? And have you ever seen
Well-
someone break that gate on Battlefield? It happens like
Well, okay,
one every
this one's
50
different
games.
because payloads pass by that, right?
I guess, yeah.
Like
but
the first
I mean,
payloads can spawn right below that, so if you're don't know,
technically
it
you
seems
can
really
skill
easy.
shot from the boss pit on Cursed Hollow as well. People used to do that. They used to think that was some fun little cheese to do, but that's phased out.
The only reason I brought that up is because I've experienced it multiple times already on the PTR, where that's like the go-to strat right now. You know how in Blackheart's Bay, is everyone go to the eye for a while,
Yeah.
right? And it's still kind of that, right? That's what every game on Hanamura is right now. Is well, which well are they going to pressure? How are we going to respond? Are we going to trade wells, or you remember that old meta where it was like for like a month where it was just trade forts? Like, well, we're pushing top, they're pushing bottom.
Mm-hmm.
Both teams lose a fort instantly, right? Like that's how it feels right now. Even someone in chat said Zoya did it to me. Yeah, I've killed many wells early game. It's true. Yeah, it's just a little interesting little abuse thing for that map, I guess. I don't know if that needs to be changed, but something I've experienced a lot of.
Conceptually, the idea of a core that can only be tapped by the objective, just like Towers of Doom, it's our second map like that. Are you guys excited to see them sticking to that concept for another map? And it's just the execution being kind of or do you guys dislike that style of play?
It's hard to make any judgment on the.
But do you like the style for Towers?
It's a 2-lane map. I like the style of Towers. But that's a 3-lane map, right?
Right.
So you can make it work a little easier. At 2-lane maps, it's always like you go into it like, all right, 2-lane map, let's go.
I mean, I also really dislike 2-lane maps, but I'm not sure that this one is as bad, just because the mechanic of the map objective damaging the core instead of increasing the amount of experience you get should, in theory, reduce the amount of snowballing that happens. Like, because on BOE, for example, like, you win a fight and get a big immortal. Not only did you already win the fight and have an advantage in experience, it propels you further ahead. So I think that's why 2-lane maps are so frustrating. And, like, Braxis is terrible about this. Like, you get a lead, and then, like, the Zerg wave, before it was nerfed to Oblivion, would just, like, crush a fort and the keep wall, and then you're 2 levels ahead and they don't get to play the game. Like, in theory, having an objective that does not give you experience back as a reward, like, should reduce snowballing, but I'm still not sure it solves the economic problems of 2-lane maps.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind all my complaints and stuff. It's, again, PTR. Games are skewed, right? I'm also playing with, the MMRs everywhere, so a lot of this could change very easily on live, right, when you're matched with proper MMR people. But
I mean,
now
I'll be the
it's
first
a bit
one,
scary.
I'll be the first one to admit that when Towers came out, I was like, I hate this. I'm so
we
I'm so
railed on it
terrified
on
of this.
on
I think this is going to be the worst thing ever, and it's become one of my absolute favorite maps, especially for esports, because it generates some of the most exciting games. And who knows? It's always hard to judge a map right out of the gates.
Yeah.
Towers is actually my favorite map as well.
Yeah, it's so good.
But like the weird thing for me is that as soon as I played Towers, like I enjoyed the map. I enjoyed the mechanic, but when I'm playing Hanamura, like, I'm actually enjoying just playing the map so far. Like, I enjoy the layout of it. I enjoy, like, the merc camps, but the way to damage core is feeling really unsatisfying to me right now.
And I know exactly why. On Towers of Doom, when you cap the objective, you cap it. You've right-clicked it. You're waiting for that tense channel. Will it go off? Will it go off? On this map, you know if it's going to get escorted in. And there's no interaction from you other than being near it. You're not physically clicking it. You're not physically completing the objective, right? It just kind of ends. It's like, well, it goes in, and then there's no, like, feeling of you completed this, right? The shots just go.
Well, I mean, that just could evolve to be the meta is not defined yet, which is clearly the case. People are going to have to learn how to draft and play it. What kind of heroes need to be in play to be able to stall out and get those choke points? Like, do you want to have like a Probius that's able to kind of build a toll booth where it's like, all right, guys, pay your tolls. I'm going to slow you down here. And I don't know. And at the same time, there's the whole, you guys mentioned, Dunk said, pro teams are going to have those mercenary camps. When it's up, they're going to grab it. Not only does it give your team a lot of XP, but it gives them a power that they can utilize in these kind of attacks and flanks and attempts. So it's possible that we also see an actual dedicated jungler for the first time in Heroes, which is like, how many maps do you draft a jungler for? Maybe Cursed?
Black Hearts.
Black Hearts. I don't even know the last time I cast Black Hearts. So yeah.
I mean, I completely forgot what I was just going to say.
Oh, I'm sorry, man.
So, cool.
Sweet.
Great.
We were talking about the unsatisfaction of turning in and then the way the payloads work and draft.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was anything. Okay.
So, about that, actually, when the payload gets to the point, it turns into a cannon.
Yeah.
And then it shoots. But you could also, like, channel on the cannon is the suggestion I just saw in chat.
Ah.
So it spawns the cannon, and then you channel on that.
Interaction with it.
But then there's a way. So they've delivered it and they've armed it, but then they need to actually channel it to fire it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I
Or
think that would
maybe-
also probably make the end of the game more satisfying.
Yeah.
Maybe make it like a merc camp.
If it was like a fight.
You know how merc camps have to stand on them and it has to fill the circle for it to complete? Like, add some form of effect like that, where you have to you have to actually complete it.
Deliver
right?
it and
just
then
doesn't-
channel it.
It just doesn't just slip in. Like, you know that one battleground on WoW, the Silver Shard Mines? You just kind of walk with it in. So unrewarding.
It
It's
is.
like, oh, okay,
It
it's
feels
in there. Congrats, right? You know, it's not. You need some form of interaction, whatever it is.
It just gives more exciting, like, counterplay. And, like, the idea of, oh, they almost channeled it, not they almost stepped it forward, or this guy was in the radius to be annoying, or this Eric was stealth and slowing them down. Like,
Dude, it's so fun. Vikings on that map is so hilarious. You can stall for days.
Like that would be an especially intense moment though, is like you get it in, but then they come and fight and they stop the channel. But then that is always armed. Like, if someone gets there and they're alone for 4 seconds, that shot's firing, you know? So, like, that team then always has to defend it. So, my favorite game that I've, like, ever played, probably not too many people saw it, because it was during Gold Club World Championship, and it was a group stage match against SPT. Which is, the game starts, we're playing Dragonshire, and we have a terrible draft for the map. So they win all 3 lanes, and they get dragon after dragon, and they're kind of winning. And then eventually, they decide to just straight up, like, rush core or something. Because it keeps, like, half, so they take the keep, finish it off, and then just rush core. The core survives on 3%. It is then 35 minutes of us with a 3% core, and they cannot end. Because we have every single, like, entrance and exit covered. And it was, like, a 43-minute game or something. It was, like, maybe 48 minutes. It was the longest game we've ever seen. And that was my favorite game ever. So having that scenario where, like, guys, if someone goes and challenge this, like, we lose the game. We have to defend this. But we also have to push it in so we can win. Like, I think that would be super cool, actually.
I mean, but the thing is, I understand the argument for having to click on it, or at least seeing a bar fill up might be more satisfying. Like, I understand the argument. That's just like a how it feels thing. But I mean, you kind of already have to log hit. Like, I don't know how to articulate this, but this essentially pushing it in, like, is essentially just a long form mercenary capture. It just doesn't feel as satisfying, right. I think, because at the very end there's no UI indication. Like, you could still have that insanely cool fight right on the edge of the turn-in, but you don't get that sense of, like, oh, you were, like, 1 millisecond. Like, you know the Towers of Doom when you interrupt someone that would have been lethal, and it's, like, within the last 0.2 of the channel, and you're like, oh my god, that was so close. You get that excitement because you knew exactly how close it was, and maybe that it's just not translated right on Hanamura. Like, it's not a thing about whether you actually get those moments, just that you don't feel them the same way. Like, I'm not sure you actually need to do something crazy, like have them arm and then be channeled later or anything like that, but just have some, like, UI element that makes it feel exciting when the payload actually gets close.
I think that would help a lot. I mean, people always underestimate the power of just that little indicator, or even an audible indicator that makes a big difference in play. Like, I think maybe that is enough. I don't know.
Like, the difference for me is that, like, let's say that you get a pay-in all the way, and it's literally in, it's like a millimeter away, you then lose a team fight, the payload just then rolls back. So that then becomes no longer, like that tense moment meant nothing for the team that was about to win, because everything gets, like, reset, basically. It's like a soft reset. So, like, getting the cannon up, and then the cannon staying there, that still remains a tense moment. So you then see the effects of that team fight for the rest of the game.
It could have a checkpoint system or something, if you really want something like that.
I mean, it would be nice if there was. So, I mean, I could be 100% wrong on this, because I've asked questions to people I play with, and they don't know exactly. There's no countermeasure, right? Like, unless you make them to where they literally can't spawn an additional cart because every other spawn for them is already taken, there's no countermeasures, right? Like, eventually they will probably get that cart in. There's no way to, like, remove the cart. There's no way to deny them a cart besides, filling the board, right? You'd have something, that's almost impossible to stop all the points, right? So maybe if there was some, again, I could be wrong, so if I am someone, let me know, but if there was some way to deny your opponents those carts, like you're just like, you took too long, so it's despawning.
Well,
or something like that. But then that makes that map even more snowbally. So
like the respawn is based on when you turned it in. So I think actually any time you make them waste, actually essentially pushes back
waste?
Their next payload.
Yeah.
Like so if they don't turn one in for 2 minutes longer than you, your next cart comes up 2 minutes earlier, I think. Like it feels weird because I agree this is something that's not translated well in game. It doesn't feel like like on Towers of Doom, you can go and take their channel and like you feel really satisfied. On this map, you can't do that. You just like you have to understand logically that you're pushing back before the next turn. And so even if they get their channel no matter what eventually, you're still getting an advantage, which is not true in Towers of Doom. Like it doesn't matter if they cap the altar at 1 second or 5 minutes because functionally the next wave is going to come up and then it's a fight over them again. Whereas this, since you're fighting for independent objectives, you get an advantage for delaying them. I just feel like it's not translated to where I feel like I made an impact, right? Because I see them get it in anyway. So again, maybe that's something where like you could feel like they need to tell you that like, oh, you should feel good because you made them waste an extra minute longer than you. So you'll have 1 more minute to play with your payload than before theirs comes up type thing.
Yeah, it's because how I preface this was I didn't even know, right? It took you explaining that mechanic to me to understand that, and now I understand it. But even then, I probably still won't feel that in game. Maybe even if they just added a timer on the right that once you've capped it, your next payload spawns in 2 minutes, and when you see your opponents ticking down and you don't have one, that right there would probably feel rewarding enough. And you change nothing about the gameplay itself. It's just a little interface change. Something like that would be enough to fix that feeling right there.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. That's actually something I pitched to Blizzard people when we were there for the summit. I was like, cool, we've got this kill feed. It's really great. Is there a potential for an event feed in the future where they would actually show this kind of info? And he's like, yeah, that's a cool idea. He wouldn't say whether or not they're going to ever do that. But I think there's a lot of room for things like, the objective spawning, consolidate all the information to the side, both as a player and as a, even for the esports client. That'd be really, really helpful information.
Yeah.
That's something that I was trying to pitch to Blizzard, was like, why are timers just not in the game? So I think Towers of Doom, I might be wrong, but I think it's like a consistent spawn, like 2 minutes, let's say. There's no randomization. So after the last altars have been fired, 2 minute break, next altar spawn. Like, why is that not a timer just like in the tab screen or something?
Yeah, that's true. And there's other maps like that. Sky Temple's that way.
Why are so much of that information? Why is it hidden? And it's something that League of Legends does. Is when you press tab, you can see the timers on the blue bar.
It's super nice. Yeah.
And you can see the timers on Dragon and Baron as well. So I just think, like, there are some maps that are random. Honestly, I really dislike that randomness.
Like Cursed, yeah.
Cursed.
Yeah, like Cursed, that just makes it super, like, luck-based. Is that if you say, okay, let's take a wall first and then go easy, potentially you can get a huge, like, half-level lead out of doing that. Just because you said, okay, let's hope it's a late spawn on the tribute, guys.
Right.
Like, if it was an early spawn, you just got screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially if it's on the other side of the map.
Yeah.
It's that's always been kind of the one example, right, when it comes to inconsistencies, though, for the timing for maps that we have in HGC.
Blackheart's chests as well.
Is Blackheart's not in HGC, though, so it doesn't... I don't even
care.
Well, it's still
that's gone now.
I mean, their argument, and I can again understand it. So it's hard to walk that line. Is information's great, but too much information is confusing. It can throw off new viewers and stuff. That's pretty basic, so that's probably safe. But again, there's already so much on the screen. That's Blizzard's argument, right? I'm not arguing for them, but that's usually what they say in these kind of situations. Is sometimes too much information is a bad thing.
Bring it into the tab screen, though. Like you said, it's optional. So many people don't even press tab, right? Like, they just play the game.
That probably.
How do you play the game without looking at your damage meter, though?
Nah, that's a good question.
Well, I think that's a good suggestion.
Aesthetically, though? aesthetically though, the map is beautiful.
Oh my god.
Like the art, it looks so good, and I like the tone difference, honestly, from the rest of Heroes. Like, I don't know, Zoya's got a look on his face like maybe he doesn't like it, but I love the having a bright tonal option for one of the maps as opposed to all the other like darker, heavier maps.
I love the tone because it doesn't look, despite it being colorful and green, it doesn't look like a Warcraft map, right? You look at this and this isn't Warcraft.
Yeah.
But there's something off of it that I don't feel 100% like it's Overwatch. Maybe it needs like more Omnics or something. It's definitely not Warcraft, and I can see that it's Overwatch, but it doesn't feel like Overwatch, right? Like we need mechs, we need like
Dude,
I don't know.
I'm kind of glad it doesn't feel like it's Overwatch because. Go ahead.
No, carry on.
I was just gonna say, like, because when you look at the Overwatch maps, it still feels like Hanamura. Hanamura is one of the few places in the Overwatch universe that kind of feels like it's still old Japan.
That is true.
Right?
That is true. That is a very good point.
If you go to like whatever, like you do have this, this kind of futuristic outline in the background, the city that's below. So they're like, in the clouds or whatever the situation is for Hanamura. But, you go to Volskaya, and Volskaya is a completely different beast when it comes to the map, right? That does have the giant mechs. That does have, the crazy futuristic feel. But this is a very Zen garden, the homeland of the Shimida clan or whatever.
I take back what I said. I agree. This does. Okay, you say Overwatch map, right? You go in expecting Overwatch, right? So you're expecting, more Overwatch stuff. But now when you say, this is where, the Shimada's area, right? This is Hanamura. And when you look at it from that, yeah, they did nail that. It's very tranquil.
Yeah, it is.
I was expecting more of like explosions and Omnics and, Torbjorn screaming and,
It's just kind of. Go ahead.
To me, though, I don't feel like they actually captured Hanamura.
Really?
Like I feel like they captured futuristic Japan, like futuristic rural Japan. I feel like they really nailed that. But I mean, I don't know. When you say Hanamura to me, there's like two main things I think of. There's that pink tree forest, which looks super cool. That's where they do all their like hero intros and stuff, like running through there. It looks amazing. And I think that big like gate. And to me, the gates in HOTS, they look tiny. Like, they look really kind of pathetic, just like a back garden gate. And then the pink trees just aren't really, like, they're dotted around, but there's nothing where I'm like I look at it, I'm like, wow, like, whew. Like, look at all those pink trees. That looks, like, amazing,
Okay, if they were to go full-blown Sakura Forest, this map would be the pinkest, it would be ridiculous.
So hang on, can you get up like a map on stream, like an overview?
I mean, I can drive us around.
Oh, like the whole map.
Okay, so if you go to like where that night thing spawns,
the night camp.
Yeah, the health camp one.
Oh, the health camp.
So if just this whole area, they went really ham, and this was like the pink tree area. With like bigger trees.
And the borders, the top border, is a lot of nice pink trees.
Well, yeah, I don't know. That's still not the forest though. Like, I feel like they
this
missed
one,
out.
Bakery,
Like,
this one big enough for you?
But this tree, one right here.
That's a monster tree. That's true. That's a good tree. But you're okay, Blizzard, when what we're complaining about is there's not enough fucking peak trees on your map. We're in an okay spot right now. You guys are all smiling. The maps are like, okay, this is what our issues are. We can add more trees, Bakery. We got this.
I mean, you have to think about particle density and like things being in the way. They want it to be clear. There's variables that come into play. Like if they were to litter trees everywhere, it would obstruct the map really.
Well, yeah, so that's what I mean. Just like have like a forest, like at the night camp or whatever, and then on the base gate and like around the edge of the map, just make like a huge wooden wall, and then like have a huge gate or like something like that, and then below, like towards the bottom of the map, like under the map, have like that shopping area, right? Like at the very start of the attacker's Hanamura.
Oh, the shopping area.
Yeah, I just feel like they missed out on Hanamura. I feel like the map was initially designed as something else, if you know what I mean. And then they were like, oh, like Hanamura, like we way prefer that art style. Let's put that in.
I think
That's what it kind of felt like to me.
the one complaint I could give in aesthetic that I think they could have tried to do that probably would have been very difficult to do was to try to split it so that half of it's like the arcade zone. So like one team is like the arcade side and one team is like, the temple side. But I mean, that's literally two different, full on.
I feel like they went
maps.
halfway. Like if you look at the bases, one base is like made up of buildings, and the other base is like a wall.
Wait, what do you mean? This is buildings?
Yeah,
That's a
so
wall?
that's buildings,
Oh.
and this is like a.
Yeah. At least it's different.
So I feel like they kind of planned to like go harder on this
Maybe.
theme, but I don't think it's feasible, to be honest. It seems like far too much work for
Actually-
a minor detail.
Trying to think about this. Like, this is the.
It's just never enough for Europeans, Like they always want more. They're always complaining and asking more. You know what, Blizzard? I'll take back everything bad I said. You guys rock.
Well,
Yeah,
I think
I
it's-
agree. I mean, my initial statement still stands there. I agree more with Jake afterwards. I think I lean towards aesthetically. I like it more now.
I think the biggest complaint I have overall is why do we have an Overwatch map before our Warcraft map? Like, come on.
That's true.
There's more Warcraft heroes in this game than anything for a reason. It's the biggest universe. We still don't have a Warcraft map. It makes me sad, man. I mean, I'm super happy to have Hanamura. I really am. I think it's gorgeous. I'm glad we have something that's...
I want to bring up. I'm sorry, this is so random. Did you guys see the WoW cinematic for Anduin today?
I didn't watch it yet. Don't spoil.
No,
no spoilers, please.
Jake,
No
please
spoilers.
watch it. Please watch it. They talk to me about it. It's so good.
We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I saw my Twitter feed. I get it. Maybe. Ah.
Nice.
Wait, are these birds? Do they move? Oh, yeah. Look at those birds.
Oh, they're moving.
Oh.
Man. Dude, those are like Spearows.
They do
With
look
golden,
exactly like
golden,
Spearows.
golden feathers. Oh, look the way they move. Wow. Good detail, Blizzard. So proud of you.
Jake, are you in an actual game on Hanamura?
It's a replay.
Oh, okay. I
It's
was
one
like,
of his enemy players.
okay. I was worried that he accidentally queued into a real game. I was about to just show those
Dude,
people.
when I saw the ally chat, like, sorry,
Yeah.
Jake. Oh my god, I was like, Jake, what are you doing?
I like the little Omnic minions, though.
Yeah, the minions were-
I actually had a complaint about the minions.
Oh,
I
yeah?
find it hard to differentiate
course.
between.
Hold up. Hold the presses. Bakery's got another issue with the aesthetics of the map. Hold on, guys.
I
You ready
find
for
it
this?
hard to differentiate between the wizard minion and the range minions because they're
Yeah,
both
okay.
white.
Yeah, but the wizard
Right.
ones float.
I mean,
Yeah, but like when there's just a mass of like white characters, I'm like, give me the globe, and then there's like 5 white characters. Which one's the globe one?
we're being super picky at this point, but they do kind of look like.
Damn.
But it's fine.
One more thing, right?
Okay.
Nah. I'm just kidding.
I guess the last Hanamura thing we could talk about is the Hanamura skins. We have this Omnic Ariel, the Sakura style.
You
here.
need to try mode. You need to try mode with it because it's amazing. Where's try mode?
All right, we'll try mode it for you, Bakery. I haven't actually seen it.
This
I love
skin
this
has
new loading
got,
screen,
like-
by the way. This is really nice.
Yeah, I like the splash screen too.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, that
Oh,
is
that's
really cool.
nice.
Do the ults look any different, like Crystal Aegis?
Aegis is a super cool particle.
A super cool. Oh yeah.
Oh. That is pretty good.
Dude, I cannot get enough of this skin. I'm gonna spam oil so hard when this skin releases.
Oh, baby.
Jake, you have to actually hit them with your E.
No.
Yeah.
How about the changes to revive? Did you check those out, Bakery?
Alright. Okay, so I think this is actually a good transition to talk about supports a bit, right? In the new patch.
We are going
Okay.
to go to balance, yeah.
I guess Uther and Doyle.
Mm-hmm.
And Tassadar and everything, yeah.
Dude, it feels like they're pushing like these supports so hard to like double support roles.
Yes.
Oh, please no. So like revive, you can't really take it as like a solo support because you don't want someone to die. Like you can need the Aegis as your saving tool. Like that's something I'm really big on with supports is like an ultimate that has the potential to like save someone or the team fight. So Sound Barrier, Ancestral Healing, Divine Shield, Divine Palm, all these cool things. Aegis is one of those as well. If you miss out on that, it just feels like you're missing something from the team comp, I think. Mm-hmm. But if you have a second support like Lucio to Sound Barrier and save them, then you can just revive and you can trade 1-for-1 and like get a value revive. So it feels like that's not going to change anything about solo support oil, and the buffs in general, they're like quality of life, but they don't do anything to change her role. Like, so it's quality of life and it's just a buff to her. So she's better, but her role didn't change. She can support without, like, let's say a Lunara or Gul'dan or a Vala. But I think Uther as well. So what they did is they kind of like, they took out some of his healing. They took out his mana regen talents. And they took out like the generic talents that didn't cost any mana. And then but they give him more burst heal. So he still can't solo support effectively. Because if you go in
so fast.
He goes so fast, if you have to sustain heal. So every single bot lane I've played on Hanamura, like a 4v4 bot lane where I have to sustain heal and both teams trade, I've gone by 3 minutes. And I'm not even mismanaging my mana, I am sure of it. But you pair him with a Lucio to keep your team topped off. Wow, this guy's got insane burst heals, your whole team's got 25 armor. Like, I don't know, it really feels like Oriel and Uther are like just got way more valuable as double support heroes. And that's already a popular meta right now.
Literally everyone I've talked to has said the exact same thing as you. As Uther and Oriel feel like second supports now. They feel like they've been toned back in their solo support power, and they are now second supports, which is... I don't know how I feel about that change. I'm personally upset about the Resurrection change because I was one of the few hipsters of Resurrect. I took it every game because it was so much fun. And now that they've increased the cooldown, I get to Resurrect.
You're repulsive.
I play Team League with like Calf and stuff, and when one of them die, it's funny to res them and see chaos resume. But I agree with everything that Bakery said. I've been hearing over and over again from the people I've been playing on the PTR. Uther can do so much damage, by the way. K1 Pro top damage. Dude. Or he was like second as damage as Uther. With the Holy Shock build, where you get like the reduced cooldown, like a 2-second Holy Shocks, and then you're also, because you're healing yourself doing the damage, you're unkillable. So you're just killing people. Like, I saw K1 Pro one me on so many people, and then he was second on damage as Uther. It's nuts.
I played my first Uther game on the PTR versus a Rexar. My team had no idea what they were doing on the map, so I had to solo lane in top versus Rexar. I'm like, all right, let's give it a show. This guy clearly had no idea what new Uther could do, and he like kept stunning me, and I just kept like just blowing him up, just absolutely nuking this Rexar player. It's insane. Like, he does incredible burst, but definitely feels like that's going to be a double support role. He's like a mage, tank, healer. I don't even know.
Yeah, I think there might be room for him in like a bruiser role.
He is literally turned into the embodiment of what Uther would have been if he lived, right? He's like this godly paladin with healing and damage and tankiness. Like, if you're to take the lore of Uther, right? He's just an unkillable destruction machine. And that's like...
I'm not sure he's that, but...
He's nuts,
that was not my impression.
Dude, he's nuts, dude. New Uther is so insane. He's fun, man. So, I like changeable.
I guess the interesting thing about talking about Ariel and Uther being these second supports, and obviously we've always said, like, you know, in the past there's like Tassadar, Tyrande. Tassadar's definitely feels like a secondary support, always has. Tyrande supposedly is getting some updates in the future, so maybe that's something they want. Maybe they're trying to push some of these supports into that role. I don't know. Is it good for the game? That's a different question.
I mean, anytime the meta goes to like consistent double support or support and a half, the game gets really frustrating.
So slow.
Like, I mean, maybe there's a direction you can eventually go where like all of the healers kind of get nerfs to their throughput, and like you end up only running one for their special like utility aspects. I'm not sure if that's what's going to happen with the way they're doing it, though.
Some people in chat saying no, Uther can solo support easily, but as Baker was just saying, there's a lot of heroes like, Lunara that just gonna have so much consistent damage spread out the poison. If you're forced to heal constantly, you go far too quick. And,
Baker said it. They removed mana regen.
Yeah,
he has no regen at all. He's
although
he has some,
right?
Well, not near as much as before.
So the issue with that Q talent is that you need to stack it, right? Before you get any mana off of your Q. It still starts out at 90.
Yeah.
Which is insane. That costs more than Ancestral.
I mean,
and they nerfed the healing amount. So his sustain healing got
crushed. Yeah.
50% more mana inefficient, and it was already terrible. Look at Mouth, like mana value compared to Uther healing. It's insane.
I mean, yeah, he's going to be really bad at sustaining health in lane phase, maybe. But his other two talents also have mana aspects to them. Like, the W talent is the same as the W talent was before, but better, because it counts enemies, but weaker because it doesn't have the AoE it used to, assuming you took the AoE quest. And then the auto attacks mana 1. I mean, so he does have mana talents. It's just, he still can't. He just doesn't have the healing throughput of any other healer unless you are actively mitigating damage with his armor.
What heroics are we seeing in Europe right now? We're like 99% of the time it's Storm right now, from what I've seen. Are you guys seeing a lot of Divine Shield? Bakery, is that what you guys are doing?
I don't know. It's it varies, I think Divine Storm's actually a good heroic. It's the longest time in the game, I think, right now. 1.75. And it's a decent amount of damage as well.
Bakery.
What
if it got the Twilight Dream treatment where they gave it mana regen?
Then that would be the go-to for sure.
Yeah.
I know. I like the Twilight Dream treatment of just adding mana regen onto something. But I think it was actually probably a bad idea to give that to Twilight Dream in particular. That probably wasn't the change you wanted to make. The Brightwing situation where, if he takes Emerald Wind, he's going to be lacking healing. So let's give him bonus healing. That's a really good change.
Right, yeah. It's a good comparison.
Let's compare one of his new talents, level 13, Well Met, to Shrink Ray. Overall, that's one thing they did with Uther is they gave him things like Hand of Protection instead of Cleanse, unique version, and then Well Met is effectively like a Shrink Ray but built into his E. Shorter cooldown, but it's melee range. Do you think that's a fair trade-off?
I think Well Met is pretty garbage as a talent, honestly. The power level that Shrink Ray had, as a tool, was just so much more diverse in what you could use it for, offensively or defensively, and I feel like Well Met is, I don't know, it's just kind of low impact. It's probably going to be it's a fine talent power level wise. It's just not exciting, I think, other than the name.
Would it be exciting if he went Well Met when he cast it?
On one hand, sure, because it would be fun. On the other, I don't think it would be competitively, that doesn't affect competitive. So it depends what you're asking.
In a dream world, I like the concept, right? You have your generic talents, but they're altered for every hero, right? So it's not cleanse. Everyone's got a form of cleanse, right? Where Uther's cleanse is different,
okay,
is different, but it needs to be implemented properly. It can't be booty butt cheeks.
This is something that really, 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 really bothers me. Uther's level 7 talent, his cleanse version is called Hand of Protection, but it doesn't do what Protection did in WoW. It does what Freedom did in WoW. So why is it called Hand of Protection when it doesn't provide mitigation? It should be called Hand of Freedom. It's such an obvious thing, and it makes me so upset.
moving away from the lore nerds, just talking about his level 7 talents in general, I'm actually really, really happy that they finally just said, okay, guys, Cleanse is broken. We realize that now. Let's stack this talent tier beyond belief.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Guardian of Ancient Kings, like, healing a hero that's stunned increases the armor from 25 to 75. And also the other one, like Uther, being like CC'd causes his Q to be charged 200% faster. Like, these are super fun talents that I can legitimately see you picking over Cleanse in certain situations. So I'm really, really happy they finally did it.
Yeah, it's
insane.
stacking tiers is always a good thing because it's an epic tier, right? You look like, remember how old level 16 used to be, where it's like you gotta get that 16, and then it's like ugh. So like I've always loved that power spike feeling, and it's good that because the argument is like, why don't you spread them out? Well, then that hero's like always really, 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 really good, right? Every tier he's like, it's so much more powerful when you stack it and you have a really hard choice, and every tier is awesome. It couldn't be better. That's like the ideal situation when it comes to a talent tier.
I agree. I think it's hard to do for a lot of heroes, but level 7 on Uther freaking nails it, and it's meaningful based on like what you're up against, right? You're gonna go, if you're playing an Illidan draft, Guardian of Kings is actually amazing. Your Illidan gets stunned, it's like boom, buddy, you are set. Enjoy that armor. You're gonna take 0 damage today. Have fun. And same thing with Armor of Faith. Like that's the battle Uther. When you want to be spamming those holy shocks into your opponent's face, like suddenly you get punished heavily for CCing Uther, and that's just super cool. It changes his playstyle. Like it really does.
That's something I didn't notice. You see the comment in chat about how if a team has no stuns or roots, then Uther's level 7 talent basically does nothing. Like all of them. I mean, the cleanse you can get value from a slow in theory, but like it's basically a blank talent tier if they don't have stuns or roots.
That's true.
I also didn't think about that because
that never happens in competitive.
Yeah, you'll never. There's so many stuns in the CC. Like, there's so many forms of CC in this game that it's kind of hard. Like, you'd have to almost be trying to not draft a CC to pull it off. It seems like it'd be a very rare occurrence, just because there's so many things that could accidentally do it.
Although, if Uther's meta, you just pick like, what do you have to take? Like Illidan, Tyrael, like, I don't know. Lightwing?
Does Horrify count as a silence?
I think it counts as a stun, maybe.
Dude.
I bet Horrify would trigger it. I'm almost sure it would.
The dream meta is team first picks Uther, and then you're just like, okay. We gotta start drafting non-CCs like this. Another team's like, okay, we can't let them get Vala because she's such a good damage without a CC. We gotta ban Vala. We can't let them get this road. We have to force them to pick a CC.
It's so funny.
One day.
So yeah, talking about stupid CC, I feel like they really need to address mini stuns proccing these talents. Like, so...
Yeah, I agree.
So Speed Demon at level 4 on Diablo, right? If you play against your Johanna, you just spend the entire team fight at 30% move speed, like running around. Like, this can't have been like an intended interaction. Like, they can't have thought, that talent, that's going to hard counter Johanna's W. Like, it just feels so wrong to me that, like, or like Skullcracker as well. Just stuff like this, where, like, you hit them with a stun, it's like, oh, no. Oh, no.
So do they have to make a classification called, like, knock-up or something that isn't a stun that causes you to just, like, bounce or whatever? Because that's kind of what, those microstuns feel like.
I think mini stuns need to be like reclassified into like they already use days, right? But like just call it a days. It can't be more than 0.25 seconds. It doesn't proc these talents. Like
those are always the most unfun mechanics. Like spell shield, for instance, is like, okay, before we go, let's make sure get like a few spells up there, break that spell shield, right? Get the charges down, get it down, so it's on cooldown, right? The same thing is going to happen here. Like make sure we get proc a mini stun on his thing, before, and then you have to wait, play around the cooldown, right?
Well, you can actually micro spell shield now, though.
Okay, well maybe that's changed then. Yeah. But with this situation, I don't like that you as the player, that when you're forced, like if you choose this talent, you have no way to play around it, right? The other opponent can completely control when it's used. So they can force you into like not using it the way you want.
I mean, if you play against a Johanna, right? Like, just don't stun Uther. Like, just don't press your W when Aether's near. Like, that's your counterplay. But that's what Johanna does. Like, that's her kit, is her W. So.
Another issue with like the knock-up thing is once you start more classifications of a CC makes it more confusing. Like you don't know necessarily. Like some people be like, "Is this a knock-up? Is it a stun? Will this work versus this? Will this work for this?" So every time you break things down into more and more categories,
but that's why it's specifically mini stun. Like just mini stun. Call it something else. It cannot be more than 0.25. Like it is. Every player can intuitively know. That is different from a stun.
I agree with you completely, and this is what I would want. But this is what that was me playing Devil's Advocate for Blizzard, right?
Well, if they were both 1 second, if it was like 1 second knockup, 1 second stun, now you're like, what's the difference? Like, and then that's where burden of knowledge becomes like an issue. But if they are distinctly different things, then I don't think that would be an issue.
Yeah, it just depends on how Blizzard implements it. They have to be as smart as possible.
Well, let's move on to talk about a little bit of Tassadar. Tassadar's just got his change on his shield. The last patch that basically makes it so you can have permanent shields when you complete the questing talent and you get the 30 gloves. It's just like, hey, look, 5-second shield cooldown. Yay. I think they kind of realize that just having shields up all the time is, in fact, troubling. And the phase plasma shield cooldown has gone down a bit. The shield amount has been decreased as well. The duration is down to 4 seconds. And they also altered the questing talent so that rather than getting additional cooldown, you get additional amount. So you're raising the amount of shielding you have, but again, permanent shielding, just having the shield up at all times, not a thing. And I think this is a very needed change for the game.
This is like the 4th rework of that level 1 talent. They cannot take their hands off it, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. I think just in general, they realized that Tassadar is a hero that can create a lot of issues, not because of Tassadar, but because of other heroes, like Tracer, like Illidan, like Valor. So I think what happened with the rework is that they didn't quite fully understand that mechanic, and now they have, and they're taking a lot of steps, and they're trying to be very smart about how do we stop this being annoying, and how do we take this back to a fun, interactive enabler. So yeah. I think we're heading in the right direction. It's just a bit hard, but
yeah. You use the keyword there, enabler, right? Like Tassadar's shield doesn't make Tassadar. Tassadar's OP because of his shields, not because the shields make Tassadar OP. Because they make who he's enabling OP, right? Tracer without Tassadar's shield, less impactful. With Tassadar shields, much more terrifying, right? You know, he's the ultimate enabler, and you just gotta tune back how he enables without impacting his own kit, right? You want to make him still valuable to himself while still being able to help other heroes and not it be toxic.
While we're on the topic of Tassadar, how do you guys feel about the Zarya changes? A little bit different. She's got some buffs in places, some nerfs. I mean, they brought her energy rate of decay up a little bit more, so she loses her energy more quickly, harder to maintain. Any thoughts on her?
I mean,
I think they're fine.
Yeah.
We've seen how, like, seemingly small changes to her energy decay rate can have, like, huge balance implications, so I'll reserve judgment until playing, you know?
Well, her energy mechanic, if I'm correct, is back to exactly what it was at launch now, right? Yeah. Which is where she comes out, everyone's like, oh wow, this hero is like impossible to play, and then they like half the energy like decrease rate, and then like buff more damage, and then we've gradually worked our way back to exactly how it was when she released. So I think that just shows that people got a lot better at understanding energy from both sides. In terms of like Zarya has energy, let's back out, and I'm Zarya, like let's generate energy specifically by like running into towers and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. I think the changes were very interesting for me because of that, and it is nice that they buffed Graviton Surge because that ability was useless.
No one uses it. Yeah, I mean the reduced cooldown, maybe we'll see it used, but even then.
people in my Hero League use that all the time.
Oh yeah.
I'm not salty about that, by the way.
I guess one other small little thing, if we're just talking about supports right now, is Lily. They're trying to make her have that blind roll unlock for supports. Like the only time you ever saw Lily get picked was to be like the anti-Illidan. In rare cases, and supports are in a weird spot. They've buffed Blinding Wind in every way, from damage to mana cost to cooldown reduction. So you're going to be able to kind of go a mage Lily. I don't think it's going to make her a thing, but it's definitely going to help when she's against those auto tech heroes.
I actually think these changes were really big for Lily.
Yeah.
I played 3 games on PTR, and I top damaged 3 games.
Oh god.
Just going blind build, because the uptime, if you take like the increased duration of Blinding Winds, and then you take like increased damage, and then you take slow, like the uptime got increased by like more than the cooldown. It kind of amplified, because you can talent a lot of things into it.
Right.
So it got amplified off the talents, and then all these talents, like slow for 3 seconds, blind for like, what is it, 4.5 seconds or something like that. Like the fact that those all amplify as well, I actually feel like these made her like a pretty scary kind of bruiser second support though. Like I'm not even kidding.
Wow.
I'd be willing to believe that.
I mean,
Lily Uther, the new OP, the new hot.
This is a dangerous era we live in.
Dangerous time.
This could be great. This could be the worst thing Hot has ever seen. Welcome to the Lily meta, boys. We're doomed.
Well, yeah. I guess we'll have to see what kind of. I believe you, Baker. I mean, it's a big buff across the board for the ability, and if you've tried it and had that much success just with a few games building into it, do you go like full Gale Force, Mass Vortex, the whole deal, or?
No, I didn't even go Mass Vortex. That was the weird thing, is I thought if I would take that talent, I'd get even more damage numbers.
Yeah,
I was taking the longer blind one.
Okay.
And
using
using
lingering blind, 50% duration increase. Is that 4.5
Playing it-
really?
I mean, it's 3 base, right?
2 second space.
Oh, okay.
So it's a 3-second blind with that talent.
Yeah.
That's still really good. On an 8-second
Yeah.
cooldown, a 3-second blind is still really good.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Well, a lot of changes coming in. The 2.0, 1 week away from 2.0 actually going public for Heroes of the Storm. On the 25th is going to be the launch event. So
Really? Cool.
yeah, that's next Tuesday with a whole launch event show. We can actually just talk about that really quickly before we transition to the second half of our show. Let me just pull that up here. There's going to be a show match. Bakery, you'll be playing in that?
Mm-hmm.
You excited for the grudge match?
So we've already played it, actually. It's pre-recorded.
Oh, okay.
Obviously they didn't want any no, they don't actually say it in the post. Like, the teams aren't playing live, but I believe they're casting it live. So they're casting from
that makes sense. That makes
from the
complete
VOD
sense.
of like them observing us doing it.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, it doesn't make sense because the times will obviously be awkward for us in terms of
that's
preparing for ACC. So we got out of the way when we had some downtime.
Was it on this new patch?
Yeah, it's 5 matches of Hanamura.
So it's like the machines of
Yeah.
work down. Excellent.
We can tell from Bakery's disgust of the map that maybe
They
come
got
out on top there.
body.
We needed more threes, goddammit.
We need more trees. An exclusive
funny.
new cinematic and hero reveal will be happening on Tuesday as well. When I read cinematic, I perceive that as like the Ragnaros variant cutscene, but I'm not sure if that's what it is.
Well,
That would
the
be
new
cool.
hero was supposed to be announced later, right?
They bumped it up.
Didn't they move it up?
They moved it up.
Yeah, they moved it up a week, but they didn't move the cinematic. And at one point it says we'll play the cinematic and then reveal the hero. And I think another point in the post, it said, like, we'll show this cinematic revealing the new hero. So I'm not actually quite sure what exactly is going on there. But either way, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, this is.
I'm not sure if they're doing full CGI cinematic or if they're doing, like, semi-in-engine. Like, I think the Varian Ragnaros one was.
Style. Well, Varian Ragnaros is full CGI.
It was full CGI, was it?
The Varian Rag video was full on, like, just CGI.
So yeah, I heard it was like semi, like they did characters in engine and then CGI backgrounds and stuff.
Maybe, okay.
And the full HOTS, like Nova shooting nukes at Diablo and stuff, that was full CGI.
Yeah. Well, who knows? I mean, I think if it's like Machinima, where it's all gameplay, it's probably like, just another pretty standard hero. But if it's like a cinematic, it's probably like a big deal hero that people will get super hyped about. And I don't know who that would be. Like, would they give us Hanzo right after Genji? Just like
it could be like, it could just be Overwatch.
Well, it's a female hero
movie and heroes.
It's female.
Yeah, because in like different languages, like hero is like not like
masculine or feminine, like the word.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So they had to reveal it like in other languages. So it's a female hero.
I saw people saying it was Kafazad on Reddit, but who's the last one that didn't get a? What was it?
It's always Kel'Thuzad next.
He's always Kel'Thuzad.
Dude, I want
one day we'll get Kel'Thuzad, man. Come on.
Who was the one that got the last real cinematic? It was Varian and Rag, right?
Right, yeah.
That was the last one that got a real cinematic, and that cinematic was good too. Like,
it could be Genji. It could be Genji and the next hero, though. Like, for sure, it could be in the
do
cinematic.
You guys remember Dragons? Like the Overwatch cinematic?
Oh god, it's the best cinematic. Like, it's so good, dude.
The Genji Hanzo one, like it could be something like that.
No.
But and then, dude, you could tie in. That would be the Heroes of the Storm cinematic, but it's Overwatch characters. And it could be like in Universe Overwatch or something as well. Kill two birds with one stone.
They could do Diva. What would be really interesting if they did like Orisa, who just came out in Overwatch, and they're like almost a near simultaneous launch of a new hero. That would be crazy. Who knows?
May is Bay.
Bay's
next.
May. I don't know. We can't speculate.
Oh, May would be terrible.
Dude.
Oh, wow.
The toxicity that would cause, dude. That would be so great.
Please don't.
That annoying of a slow always happening.
Like
Jaina slow is annoying enough. But...
Yeah, dude. May would be nuts.
Can you imagine getting out of a VP and just having a Blizzard greet you? It's like a Ring of Frost that requires zero execution.
Well, like, with how frequently May freezes a target in Overwatch, if you hold your left click actually on them, like, think of that happening that frequently in Heroes, where you're constantly just getting frozen. The tilt would be through the roof.
All right, I'm done thinking about May and Heroes of the Storm. I hope we never have to deal with that. And we are actually going to take a quick commercial break to prepare for the second half of the show. Now, in the second half of the show, we're going to be making a special announcement and then going into HGC with a bit on the meta, and then, of course, the news that has happened from this past week number 6. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.